On this episode of Presidential Parallels, name a president who viewed himself as a representative of the common man, enemy of the elite, and a conservative firebrand who utilized populism to win over voters. That's right, Andrew Jackson. Wait, you were thinking of who? Oh, Donald Trump? Well, these qualities apply as much as they do to Andrew Jackson as they do to Donald Trump, and this is no coincidence. Donald Trump has frequently stated that Andrew Jackson is his favorite president, and it's clear that his campaign and governing style closely resembles that of the general. But how closely? And why is this even important? That's what I'll be taking a deeper dive into today. After the War of 1812, General Andrew Jackson gained a celebrity-like status after his victory against Britain in the Battle of New Orleans, where he bolstered American pride and morale after a mostly indecisive war. Jackson was a charismatic leader, earning the nickname Old Hickory, and he was a stubborn and aggressive man, getting into multiple duels and fights during his service. Jackson, much like Trump, gained popularity mostly among non-elite white voters, and with landowning voting requirements being dropped for most white men, this was a strategy which was effective. Funnily enough even, most supporters of Andrew Jackson believed that the election of 1824, where Jackson had lost, had been fraudulent, as the election of John Quincy Adams was decided not by the number of electoral votes, but by the number of House Representative votes. I wonder if another president accused an election of being stolen. Jackson largely championed Jeffersonianism, the idea that America must strive towards becoming a nation of small, independent farmers, ruled by a small central government, despite Jefferson himself adamantly disliking Jackson, believing he was too ambitious and arrogant. We can see this in modern times with Republicans such as Mitt Romney and John McCain vehemently opposing Trump. Both Jackson and Trump, to the dislike of their ideological predecessors, completely transformed the parties in which they ran in around their own image, developing a cult of personality. It was this cult of personality that led to a mob of supporters storming and trashing the White House. Now you might be asking, wait, didn't Trump supporters storm the Capitol instead of the White House? Well, you're right, but I'm not talking about Trump here. Jackson supporters actually stormed the White House during his inauguration in 1829. You can't make this stuff up. Well, after the inauguration, Andrew Jackson wanted to fight the Bank of the United States, in what is known as the Bank War, seeing the bank as being emblematic of a tiny elite which controlled the nation, blaming the bank on excess spending and debt. During the first term of his presidency, he also replaced his entire cabinet and was in significant conflict with his vice president, John Calhoun, during the nullification crisis. Does this remind you of the Drain the Swamp campaign slogan from Donald Trump, or the rift between Trump and Pence during the end of his presidency? It does to me. I think these similarities allow for predictions to be made about the future of the Trump presidency. I think a good case can be made that we should expect Trump to make his entire cabinet loyalists if he were to win the next election, just as Andrew Jackson did after his first term, so we can definitely expect some wacky cabinet picks. I also believe that his decision on a running mate will mirror that of Jackson after Jackson's rift with John Calhoun. He decided to pick Northern Jackson loyalist Martin Van Buren for vice president. Expect Trump to pick a vice president who is only entirely loyal to him. This means no DeSantis, no Nikki Haley, and definitely no Chris Christie. Picture somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy, Kerry Lake, or Tim Scott becoming his running mate. Also, much like the Democratic Party after Jackson's final term, it's likely the Republican Party will take a significant amount of time to find a new face, as Donald Trump has basically become the head of the Republican Party, with his most neoconservative or anti-Trump leaders being branded as rhinos, or Republicans in name only. Anyways, that's it for Unknown History. Maybe a new video on, I don't know, Saturday?